Even old Happy Chaos has had his defense modifier value decreased, thus decreasing the damage he takes. This sequence did 106 damage in the old patch. In the current patch, he takes 103, so it's only a decrease in 6, which is by far one of the more smaller adjustments to a character's defense modifier value that we've seen so far, I think. His guts rating has also been decreased, meaning that as he gets into lower life thresholds, he is going to be taking more damage. At 69%, the sequence does 98 damage in the old patch. In the current patch, it does 97, so again, players are only going to be losing a little bit of damage against Happy Chaos here. Once he was down to 25%, he took this much. 70 damage. And in the current patch, he actually takes slightly more damage at this life threshold, 72 as opposed to 70. So again, Happy Chaos should be a little squishier because of these changes. They changed the behavior of Happy Chaos during the recovery of his dust attack. Before, he would pretty much stay in place. Now, he moves forward just a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to do for Happy Chaos, as usually if he's point blank on top of you, he's going to be able to keep this move safe with the gun. I suppose it means in situations where he does have resources to continue his offense, he's going to be slightly closer to the opponent to guarantee that he's able to get better links off of this hit or maintain his offense. But in situations where he doesn't have the gun out, he's going to be closer for the opponent to more reliably get some consistent punishes against him. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. If a Happy Chaos player can give us some breakdowns on potential implications, do let us know in the comments below. The blowback of his sweep has been changed as well. In the previous patch, the opponent would stay pretty close to the ground, but Happy Chaos would have enough time to regenerate some of his resources here. This is the new blowback on sweep. The enemy goes a lot higher. Now I want to be able to compare to see how much more resources Happy Chaos can generate while maintaining an advantage. Let's take a quick metric. We're going to see how many bullets Happy Chaos can reload in the previous patch with this knockdown. I think we were a little bit negative there, but it's also hard to tell because Happy Chaos has a pretty high jump height. And now for the new patch. We were definitely still plus after loading 6 bullets. I don't think that you're going to be able to do all of your bullets and maintain meaningful offense, but you should be able to slip one more bullet reload in before you have to go up and run your game again. J2K has an adjustment to its blowback. Previously, on hit, the opponent would stay grounded, and if Happy Chaos wanted to pick up a conversion, he'd have to spend 2 to 3 bullets in order to do so. There, I dropped the conversion right there on a side swap. But if I stayed same side, 2 bullets was all I needed. Now, J2K launches downward with a ground bounce, meaning that Happy Chaos generally only needs to spend a single bullet to get some confirms, though they are a bit tricky. If you're quick enough, you can do this pretty consistently. Additionally, if you cross up with this move, the opponent will be blown towards Chaos as opposed to away from him. This again improves Happy Chaos' ability to confirm off of this move, especially when he's got bullets loaded. Happy Chaos' bullets also do more damage. At the ready would do 22 damage. Meanwhile, steady aim did 41. In the current patch, at the ready now does 26 damage, so an increase of 5. And steady aim does 45 damage, so an increase of 4 damage. Happy Chaos will enjoy having a little marginal more damage against opponents, as this should mostly offset the damage these bullets did against the cast since they've had their defense modifier value adjusted. Now for arguably the most important change to Happy Chaos in this patch, which is a nerf to Scapegoat. Previously, the clone itself would negate any sort of strike collision the opponent could have with Happy Chaos, so even if the opponent used a long-range normal to try and reach Happy Chaos, the clone will protect him completely. Happy Chaos could leverage this in several situations. In the corner, for example, Happy Chaos could use the clone to protect himself, either buying him a single hit's worth of time to reload his resources, or make it so the opponent had to barrel through the clone by spending an RC in order to hit him. If the opponent didn't have RC, Happy Chaos was effectively safe and prevented the opponent from approaching. This is a pretty strong situation for Happy Chaos. One that could also be applied to when Happy Chaos had you in the corner. He'd basically be able to set up the clone, preventing you from mashing against him, and then run his offense, deterring you from trying to interact with him. Now the clone no longer prevents Happy Chaos from being struck at all. If the opponent's normal is able to reach both the clone and Happy Chaos will be hit. This is a massive nerf, and one I think that has been coming for some years now. This also means Scapegoat's uses as some sort of shield in the corner or as a means to deter the opponent from trying to countermatch against Happy Chaos no longer really exist in close range situations for the character now. I can't tell you how satisfying that feels. Of course, it's not like Scapegoat is completely useless. The clone itself still has an active collision box, so the opponent can't run through it or anything like that. Additionally, Happy Chaos now moves himself farther backwards after using Scapegoat, further cementing its ideal use as a neutral tool to create space for Happy Chaos to regenerate resources with some safety in mind. It certainly is a nerf, but not one that completely makes the move useless or anything like that. I do think it does make it a little less frustrating to fight Happy Chaos in some situations. While Happy Chaos does see a few nerfs here and there, he's ultimately still the very same character that has all the same strengths he has before. Nothing's been done to address whiff normal into gunshot RNG to make it so that you can't whiff punish the character. So there is still that element of the character that is frustrating to play against, still very much intact. And if you've been looking at Tampa Never Sleeps Guilty Gear Strive brackets, Jack, the Happy Chaos player in North America, has pretty much been winning all the Season 4 patches at the moment. I'm not sure how much of that has to do with some changes to the competitive player base in the Guilty Gear Strive scene, the fact that there are a lot of other character mains who are still getting used to the new functionality of their characters and building up new muscle memory, whereas Jax is largely intact for the most part concerning Happy Chaos, or if there's simply just a statement of the overall meta of Guilty Gear Strive, which I do think is some true to a degree. Despite all these changes throughout the years, it feels like the same set of characters are still some of the best in the game, and the lower tier characters, while still getting some appreciated buffs here and there, haven't been able to break into upper echelon. And also, we can't stand to mention the fact that some of those characters who have been struggling haven't been given enough buffs, arguably, or have received some nerfs that arguably they didn't deserve still. While Happy Chaos, it feels like he's still getting some slaps on the wrist. I still think he is a bit of a cool character with some frustrating elements to him, but I also have to keep in mind that as someone who primarily focuses on commentating the game and doesn't really spend time grinding the game out like that, I have to ask myself the question of, have I done enough work to consistently beat a Happy Chaos? And I don't think the answer to that question for me personally is yes. I think this is the fairest Happy Chaos has ever been, but he's still a strong character, one that takes a lot of difficult execution at times in order to perform at the highest level with. And when it comes to a character of this archetype, Arc System Works tends to favor keeping these characters strong, because if you have to put a lot of work into a character, you do deserve to be rewarded for putting that time into them to be good with them in the first place. We'll see what happens with Happy Chaos going forward in the next couple of patches, as Arc System Works will eventually revisit the Season 4 changes and make some adjustments going forward.